Good morning, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Guiding 101. In our previous episode, you had the pleasure of spending time with Mike as he showed you the ins and outs of 4x4ing and driving. Today we're going to be taking a look at something a bit different, more of the equipment that you might be using on a day-to-day basis as a guide. So one of the first things that we need is a bag. So invest in a good quality backpack, something that can carry all your goodies from day to day. And it's always nice, I find, to have something with these compression straps on the side, which allows you to sort of customize the size and shape of your backpack depending how big of a load you are carrying. Now, moving on, I think one of the most important objects in a guide's toolkit is binoculars. Helps us with birding, looking at animals far away. I also find it's a good idea to get a good harness, something you can either just sling over your shoulder like that if you want to. A lot of the binocular harnesses, that go around your neck, you very often end up with a very sore neck at the end of a long day. So have something that can spread the weight around a bit. Now, the next thing that I like to carry is some reference books, because you never know what you're going to find out there. And those of you in the guiding industry and entering, you'll realize very quickly you will never know everything. So there's nothing wrong with getting hold of a few reference books. But something I like to always take with is a tree book, because there's always new trees to find. And then maybe like a general purpose book that has a little bit of everything inside. Something with pictures that you can show illustrations to your guests when you're explaining certain topics. So one of the next things I always like to carry is a pair of Gators. These are to keep irritating seeds and thorns and things out of your socks. A very worthwhile investment if you're going to be doing a lot of walking out here, I feel. The next important tool is a multi-tool, a Leatherman, something like that, because they're just very handy, from stripping wires to tightening nuts and bolts. You never know when you're going to have to do a minor repair on something. Now, also very important to have, guys, is your first aid kit. Make sure it's well stocked, because you never ever know when you might need one of these in an emergency. These days we do rely a lot on the electronic equipment, such as your cell phone. For instance, it's a great device to have in a case of emergency if you do have signal. A lot of fantastic nature apps are available these days to us, bird guides, things like that. Obviously, if you're going out on a long day trip or a hike or something, important to have your battery bank with you, because you will need to recharge these devices. So guys, very important, look after yourself and your skin. A nice big wide brimmed hat. I'm a big fan of one with ventilation on the side, letting that cool breeze flow through, as well as good old sunscreen. You can't go wrong with that. Nice factor 50. And then my most favorite thing, coffee, folks. I love a good cup of coffee out in the bush. So I'm a big fan of these insulated flasks. Take a good cup of coffee with you. Also great for keeping water cold on a really hot day as well. Nothing like a nice ice cold drink of water after a long walk out there, so well worth possibly investing in something like that for yourself. All right, folks, so that brings us to the end of this episode of Guiding 101 on our equipment. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has also given you an idea of possibly what you yourselves could pack when you're heading out on a safari next time. Remember, this is by no means the end all of what you should take with you, just a good idea of possible things, and you can always customize to your area of guiding and make it a bit more useful to yourself.